Are you ready to shatter ceilings, to redefine what's possible in your life and business? Then welcome to the Beyond Woman podcast, where we dive deep into the heart of empowerment, the art of crafting a lifestyle business that truly serves you, and the tools to unlock your most authentic, powerful self. I'm your host, Jacqueline Walker Johnson, and here we celebrate the women who are rewriting the rules, the visionaries carving their own paths, and the experts who are sharing their hard-won wisdom to guide us all. Join us for intimate conversations with women who are not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. Women who have the expertise and the sheer grit to empower you to step into your limitless potential. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and transformed. This is the Beyond Woman podcast. Let's begin. This episode of the Beyond Woman podcast conversation is brought to you by the Beyond Woman magazine, a magazine for the Caribbean woman, created to inspire growth, healing, and success through powerful stories and meaningful features. From entrepreneurs and leaders to everyday women doing extraordinary things, we spotlight voices that deserve to be seen and heard. Visit www.thebeyondwomanmag.com to learn more. So welcome to another Beyond Woman conversation. And, March is Women's History Month, a time when we celebrate the women who are shaping industries, opening doors, and redefining leadership in their own unique ways. Across the Caribbean, women are actually starting businesses at one of the highest rates in the world. Research from the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor shows that women in the region consistently rank among the most entrepreneurial globally. Isn't that something? Yeah. Yet at the same time, female founders often face very real barriers, from limited access to funding, to balancing family responsibilities, to navigating industries where women are still underrepresented, and so much more. But despite that, Caribbean women continue to innovate, create, and build brands because we are a resilient set, and we build brands that are rooted not only in business success but also in purpose and impact. And today's guest embodies that spirit. Michelle Baptiste is a Caribbean entrepreneur, mother, and founder of Selecfit, a confidence-driven shapewear and wellness brand dedicated to helping women feel empowered from the inside out. Through resilience and determination, Michelle turned personal challenges into purpose, building a business that supports women in embracing confidence, wellness, and self-belief. Today, she uses her platform to inspire women to pursue entrepreneurship, protect their well-being, and create lasting legacies for the next generation. And in this conversation, we're talking about the realities of entrepreneurship, the inspiration behind the brand, the lessons learned along the way, and the mindset it takes to build something that lasts. So, Michelle, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me. Such an honor to be on this platform. Thank you so much.
It's an honor to have you too. And, every entrepreneur, as we said, has a beginning, a moment when the idea for something new starts to take shape. Sometimes it comes from frustration. Sometimes it's from personal experience. And sometimes it's from simply seeing a gap that no one else is filling. So for us, understanding the story behind the business is important, Michelle, and it often reveals a deeper purpose behind it. So I want you to start by sharing a bit about your personal journey and what inspired you to begin your entrepreneurial path. Was there a specific moment where you realized you wanted to build something of your own, and was entrepreneurship always a part of your vision?
For me, I've had it in my younger years. I've had many jobs, and I remember one of my employers. He scolded me and he said, "This is not your business; it's mine," because clients will come in and they will ask for me. So he was very upset, So I would always go into an environment and always look at ways and opportunities to make it better. If they did this way, it would be this way. I always saw gaps wherever I would, and because I grew up really poor. It is the story of so many Caribbean women. I was homeless for a time. I had lost my brother to cancer, my sister to cancer. I faced rejections from relationships growing up without a father, facing physical abuse within the household because the household was, it was broken. So, depression has a way of, allowing a woman to to do different things. Some women go into food. Some women, we gain weight. We enter into relationships looking for stability. So you can choose from all of the above that I would I would have experienced as a young woman growing up. And I think this led me, accumulation of all these things led me into a vision for myself, a vision for my future, and only entrepreneurship could have given that to me.
I get you, Michelle. Sometimes it's the challenges that pushes us forward, huh? The challenges that build us up as human beings. Yes,
Correct.
we go through a little bit of uncertainty because you mentioned you were homeless and all of that, but however it happened, that caused you to turn all of that around and to build your business and make it what it is. And I love when you said that you're always looking for ways to fill the gap and persons are always asking for you. That says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot about who you are as a person and how that translates into whatever that you take on. So let me ask you this, and we're just jumping right into this whole matter of creating businesses and the entrepreneurship journey. Right. I want to talk about moving from idea to action. What were some of the realities in the early stages of building Selecfit, and what were the steps that you took when you were launching your brand?
So I had to do a lot of mental work at first because, in my mind, I wanted to do something, but then I had a lot of negative thoughts. I had a lot of thoughts. There was nobody I knew who have done it. I didn't have anyone who I could look at as a mentor to say, these are the steps that you would take. So what I had to do was I went into meditation very deep. I had to read a lot of books. The first book I read on that journey was from Cindy Trim, which is somebody who I love so much. So I had to do a soul fast, a 40-day soul fast, which was coming to terms with my past, things that I experienced, facing it and dealing with it. And from there, I got some form of clarity. You're just like, your eyes would open. And I also got a book on leadership from Miles Monroe, somebody I had loved so much as well. And it spoke about the different qualities of a leader. So I decided to jump because I was able to identify the need, right? Because it's something that I experienced personally. So in identifying the need and then not having the resources, not having the cash flow, you just have an idea. So I took a book and I started to write. And then I started to draw. Everything that I have, everything created for the company, I actually drew it, right? Everything I do, down to the layout of my stores, I drew it for myself, right? So because I had to see it. And I took pages and I had it all over the wall in my bedroom. If you walk into my room, you'll say this is a crazy person. So I had everything. So I started to read, I meditated, I wrote out the plan that I had, I drew it, and that's where it started, in my bedroom.
That it is so inspiring to me because I don't think that a lot of us who start out on this entrepreneurship journey would have thought about taking care of the mental aspect of our lives, and whether we want to accept it or not. Not discounting what you have gone through, Michelle, but I believe that as Caribbean women, we experience different levels of challenges, different levels of trauma.
Correct.
I know that you're mentioning that a lot of the times when we, not to say successful, but we struggle a lot in the beginning. Could it be that there are some things that we need to deal with? Could it be that we need to take the time out to do the reading and the self-development that you did? And you didn't say, oh, I don't have anybody to mentor me, so what am I going to do? You took it on. You took the proactive approach and you took it on and you did it for yourself. That's so commendable. And I love that. I love that. And I'm really hoping that persons who are listening, who are on this journey and perhaps stumbling a little bit, might consider that perhaps there's something that we need to deal with.
Correct.
The inside. So I really love that, Michelle. And when you look back, is there anything that you would do differently?
Well, there is another thing that I would have done differently, because every situation that I faced, I had to face it forward. So when I face things, rejection, lack of assistance, lack of help, again, I write a lot. So I would write it down and then I would do research online. YouTube is my friend, it's my best friend. And I would Google and I would search to see how people would have overcome this obstacle. What to do when you have no cash flow? What to do when you have an idea? Where does it start? How does an idea move into a product? So because people would have done it before, I'm not unique. So I learned from others. That's what I did.
I love it. It means that you can take control of your situation. There's always a way. I think this is a masterclass in the making. I believe this conversation is going to be a masterclass in the making. All right. So I want to ask you, sometimes, especially in the area that you're in, the Selecfit, and what do you consider the shapewear, right?
Shapewear, correct.
Shapewear. So a lot of times people look at entrepreneurship as something glamorous, but we know the reality is that building a business comes with a lot of, we spoke about it before, the setbacks, the risks, the moments of doubt. Was there a moment when you questioned whether this is the avenue you should pursue? Is entrepreneurship what you should be doing, or should I just stick to a 9-to-5?
Yeah, there were a few moments. There were many, many moments, not just one. I could remember when I used the rent money that I had to purchase goods, and the landlord kept calling my phone. I remember going into the fridge with my kids, and fridge was empty. It's like the story in the Bible with Elijah. The lady had a little bit of oil left. And I remember holding on to the cupboard doors. I feel to cry desperate going down memory lane. Woo! And I said, Lord, just as the lady who had her son and was down to the last bit of oil in her vessel, Lord, here I am. This is my last. Right? Those are just some of the moments. But I had opportunities to go back to work because, my skill was management. Right? So I had opportunities to go back to work full time where I could just stay, how they term it, just above broke, just enough to pay all the bills and to live an okay life. But there was something people try to say over the years, entrepreneurs made or born. That's a big debate over the years. Because there was something inside of me that always wanted more. That I always knew that I was destined for greatness. I always knew there was something inside of me. I had a vision for things. I would look at something and I would see beyond the thing. So in that moment, I had to decide. So I had a meeting with my firstborn son at the time. I told him, I said, we're going to be hungry for a little while. I took a needle and thread and I sewed my shoes with some weave thread in the front. And I kept moving. My son had to believe in me. He looked up to me. And I had to keep moving for him and for myself and for my sanity, because I couldn't quit because I was too far in. I didn't want to be a failure for myself and for my son. So I had no choice but to keep going. Yeah.
Wow, this is okay. Let me just compose myself so we can continue the conversation. It has begun on a very inspirational note, Michelle. All right, so we're in Women's History Month, and it's not only about celebrating past achievements, but also recognizing the women who are actively shaping industries and communities today. And so female founders often carry both opportunity and responsibility in that role, the shaping. What does being a female founder means to you personally?
So to me, initially, I didn't see it as anything grand. But over time, persons would come to me, women would come to me and they would say, Michelle, I always show my daughter and talk to my daughter about you. And I found within the last 2 years, I have received so many messages from women of color, talking about what an inspiration I have been, people who felt to give up and looked at my story or listened to my story and decided to keep moving. So my store became a place where women would come just to hug me from all parts of Trinidad to say thank you. And then I realized what an impact I had because I didn't know it at the time. So it took some time for me to understand the impact that my life had on others. So as a female founder, not only for myself, but for my daughter is 14 years old, and I'm creating a legacy for her so that she too can come in and see what mommy has done, see what mommy overcame, and take this business to another level, the younger generation. So it's very important for me, for my colleagues to see, for me to live authentically. I'm a very open book. Customers know my whole life story. Come in here, you sit with me for hours in the store, right? Because I love it. I love to live out loud and to share, because sharing helps. So it's very important for me, this role and the suffering that I went through. Everything was for a purpose, and I'm very happy that I went through it.
Wonderful. What do you hope other women will see when they look at your journey? What do you want them to take away personally?
We all came from different backgrounds. We all started off, some of us started off better than others. It doesn't matter where we started. I want them to see that we women as individuals, it's okay to have a dream beyond being a wife and a mother, a dream for yourself, a dream that doesn't mean that a husband or a boyfriend have to give this to us, not enforcing to be independent, but understanding that we have our own lives. Miles Monroe said, time equals life. And I believe in that so strongly. I want them to look at me and know that it's possible. Yeah, it's possible to do, be, and become anything that you put your mind to do once you put your work into it. It's possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to ask you a random question. And the question is, do you think that women lead or build businesses differently from men?
Oh, of course.
I see the passion, and you mentioned the fact that when persons come to your business place, you sit and you chat with them. And how do women lead or build businesses differently from men?
So women are very emotional, whether we want to admit it or not, and we are very passionate.
Even the tough ones? Even the tough women, those women who...
I know a lot of tough women. Jolene John was my CEO at a time. She's very tough. But on the downside, the flip side of it, she's a woman. Okay. Outside of the camera, she's a woman as well. Mm-hmm. So women are very passionate. We are very dedicated. We want to see things through. So I believe that we build differently in that a man is more... I have a lot of male colleagues as well who are in business. They are more factual, figures, books, is A woman would look at something and see the potential of it and nurture it like a plant, because we are planters, and nurture it and have faith and watch it grow. So I believe we manage differently, we lead differently.
And you think that is, what are your thoughts in terms of the success of it all?
So those who are not able to separate, because it has to be a merge. My personality is a merge between feminine and masculine, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm a business owner. I'm very strong, I'm very hard, and I'm very firm. But my foundation is to create something of value, to create something and to impact the lives of women who come into interaction with myself and my product. So what it is I want out of it would maybe be different from a man who would want probably just dollars and cents. But the foundation of my strength, because I went on to do my master's, because I wanted to make sure that I had my education. I went on and I did studies with fabrics. I did studies in Colombia with regards to shapewear. I made sure I had my foundation. But at the end of the day, I'm a businesswoman. I'm a business person, and I'm very strong and very straightforward. So when a woman leans too much into her emotional side, especially with employees and customers, and too much of her soft side, it doesn't benefit. We have to have a separation. Business, is one thing separate, and you have to be very firm and have a solid foundation and know when to go back to school, know when to learn to do your things, learn how to have the hard conversations. It's very important. Yeah.
Right, right. Okay, I got you. All right. So we want to talk about the business landscape and the fact that it's so crowded with so many brands competing for attention. You're not the only person in the shapewear industry.
No, I'm not.
And I think that as entrepreneurs, we have to be very intentional about how we position ourselves and how we differentiate ourselves, how we connect with our customers, our clients, right? So I want to ask you, what were some of the strategies that you employed to position your brand and to differentiate it from other brands in the shapewear industry?
So I didn't just build the brand Selecfit. It's two parts. It's Selecfit, the company, and then Selecfit Michelle, which is personal branding. So my personal branding cumulated with my business is what I use to push my business forward. So you would see, like in the shapewear industry, you would see the most popular person, which would be Kim Kardashian. She's a personal brand. So I used my story, my personal life story, to build a relationship with persons, individuals who knows me and who doesn't know me personally. But because my story is so real, I was able to use that to build a personal brand and to connect with persons, globally.
So it's a storytelling element. I'm always talking about the importance of storytelling, and even in our Caribbean environment, the uniqueness of how we were cultured, how we were raised,
Correct.
We can form many stories that support
Correct.
what we're doing. So I love that about what you're doing. And as I mentioned, the whole matter of storytelling, is it that it gives you a greater connection with your customers? Tell me how that plays out when you see a customer making a connection with you. How does that look?
It gives me a greater connection. The customers feel they feel safe. A lot of women have, a lot of different insecurity issues, a lot of different things that we deal with, not only mentally and emotionally, but physically as well. So women want to feel safe. They want to be connected to a person or a product that they feel understands them. Somebody who they feel will have walked through a journey that is similar to theirs. So that's how I'm able to connect with my customers, because persons know the story of Michelle and what I went through, and they have similar stories. So my store is like a sip and shop, because there's a chair for you to come and sit down.
I was going to ask you that, so you just invite them to tea and you chit chat,
Yes.
and you talk about life, you talk about body shapes, and you give them a personal fit, and you do those things.
Correct. That's what we do here. So because you can wear shapewear and you can leave a store and, people have drawers full of shapewear and you put the garment back in the drawer, right? So what I try to help with is more mental and emotional.
Okay.
Right? It's a combination, because persons come in and they hold their stomach. Right? One time as they come in the door, Michelle, my belly, or Michelle, my breast, or Michelle, my arm, come in with it one time. So I sit with them, and that's why we have the chair or my team. We sit with them and we have a conversation about lifestyle, about their past, about hurts, because a lot of persons would have lost loved ones, persons who are divorced, persons who have health issues. So we sit down and we have that conversation, and that way we are able to choose the most suitable thing for the person. Because you may come in and you may say, oh, my waist looking so big, get my waist trainer. But after we sit down and we line a little bit, the waist trainer wouldn't work, because it's very hard to hook. You have on your nails would break. You can't do this every day. Make any sense. So just buy a little pants to pull up to be smooth under your work clothes. You'll be comfortable. As I tell them, it's not about the money, because I can recommend something for you, and my staff is trained in that, because I'm very observant with my employees. We don't sell based on price. We sell based on need. So you cannot sell my client something for, this amount of money and it doesn't suit her. You'll be calling to start in a meeting immediately. We don't do that. It has to suit the person. It has to be something that they would use on a daily basis that would make them happy and help them to feel confident in themselves. So that's what we do. So that's what my shapewear is for.
And I love that you brought up the aspect of it's not just about the money, because whether we're entrepreneurs or we're in a 9-to-5, one of the things I always impart, and also to my children too, is to never be desperate.
You are correct.
Because when you are desperate, you do things that you're not supposed to do.
Correct.
And so when money is the focus, You're just selling an item. You're not building any customer loyalty. When the customer sees that you care about them and their needs, imagine I come in for a waist trainer and you telling me that I don't need a waist trainer, I need just pull-up pants. And then when I put on the pull-up pants, I realized that this works.
Yeah.
And this is so much better than a waist trainer.
Yeah.
What are you doing for me at this point? You're building customer loyalty. You're sure to see me back.
Correct.
And then you give me tea and we have conversations. You're sure to see me back. Yeah. So I think it's so important that we move away from the money aspect. I mean, it is important. I'm not denying that. It's important. But the other is more, I think building customer loyalty is so more important for us and helps the business in the long term, right?
So I believe in something called flow, right? So because I grew up with nothing and accustomed to having nothing and making a dinner and sweetie into 4. I don't chase money. Yeah. When you create an environment, right? When someone walks into your home or to your business place, your store, there's an air, there's a frequency that you operate under, right? It's like a state of flow. And everything just flows. So if I call a store, how things going, Miss Michelle, it's quiet this morning. I said, no. I didn't ask you about sales. I'm asking, how are things going? How are you? What's the environment in the store? When you play gospel music at my stores, right? The music up. Did you guys pray before you open the store this morning? What's happening in the store, right? To create that state. So when you walk into that environment, you come in, you ever walk into a room and you're like, yeah, something good is happening here. It's a positive energy, a positive light, and that's what I create. So I have customers. A customer met me in Port of Spain, and she's like, "You sell me on Frederick Street back in 2010 out of the back of your van." I was like, "Oh my God!" Yeah, I have customers from over a decade. Their mother, grandmother, daughter, and now because I sell men's vest, I have the husbands as well.
There you go. You're building a family and that is so wonderful. I love it. All right. So confidence is one of the things that we talk about in entrepreneurship and how important confidence is. But yet many women struggle with this whole matter of self-doubt when stepping into leadership or business ownership, I should say. How can women build the self-belief needed to pursue their ideas and to take risks, which is so important in business?
Yeah. You have to be confident in what you are saying and not be seen as somebody, talking hot air, because people see through you. People see through that, you probably just had an idea and you're just speaking from truth as opposed to actually doing research and actually learning about this business that you want to get into. So you have to, in my opinion, learn everything that there is to know about the area that you want to get into. Yes, and my son, he was going for an interview, and I asked him, I said, "Tell me about the company." He doesn't know. I said, "Well, that doesn't make any sense. You're going for an interview, research the company, the history of the company, research the owners, and the company." So when you go into the interview, you have all the information. It's the same thing. So our confidence as a woman has to be built from information. We have to understand our worth and trust ourselves, believe in ourselves, and actually do, as for me, the mental work, understanding the things that I don't know. I feel weak and broken when somebody says something harsh to me because of my past experience. I feel broken when I get rejected. I pitch an idea and nobody believes in it. I go home and I cry. And it takes a couple of days before I can get back up. It's coming to terms with it and working on those broken parts in your life and those broken pieces and saying, you know what? Next rejection is not going to be 48 hours. It's going to be 24 hours before I get back up. The next one is going to be 8 hours. And the next one is law of averages. I welcome no. I always tell my daughter there are only 2 answers to any question, yes or no. Don't be afraid of either, because your no's bring you closer to your yes. I'm very confident because I believe in my vision. I believe in what I'm doing. And I believe that even though I experience a no, I know that my yes is right around the corner. So the no is, this is not supposed to be for me. There is something else. And I just keep moving. I keep rolling. It's the flywheel effect. I just keep going. I just keep moving. I don't stop.
Mm-hmm. I love that you mentioned that you keep moving, because I think that is so important. You know, and the fact that it's a process. You mentioned that it probably took you like 48 hours before, and then it went down to 24. And these are the decisions that you make, you know, to help you to move along. I really appreciate that point right there, and I think that that's going to help a lot of people, because we're not expecting you to be rejected, and you don't feel, you're human. You're going to feel some sort of emotions, but what do you do after? I think that's going to help a lot of people, and I love that. You mentioned that when you started out, you didn't have the financial resource needed, or what people going into entrepreneurship or wanting to found a business would think that they need, right? But that did not deter you, right? So I'm trying to figure out, is it a myth that in entrepreneurship, you need significant resources? And so from women who may feel like they don't have the resource or they don't have the support to start, what advice would you give to them based on what based on your experience, I should say?
So because I didn't have access, I couldn't go into the bank and say I have an idea. Right? But I did have an idea.
Yes.
And I knew that, you know, because I was working at the time, I knew that I couldn't pay all my overhead expenses for my home and my family and start the business at the same time. So I had to choose. I had to jump off a cliff. I had to make a decision. And that decision was to take the finances. Of course, I did my research. I found within the shaper industry a new product, right, that I believe that I could sell. So I took all of my money and I brought that one product. Right. I'm not telling everybody don't pay rent and be hiding from your landlord. Right. But that
certainly not.
That's what I did. Right. And in doing that, I understood that if I have something in my hand, if all I have to do is to sell this thing, I could sell it. I can't sell things that I don't have. So I knew that once I had the items in my hand, I have my phone, my camera, I know I could sell anything. That's my gift. I can, right? I'm very good at it. But for young entrepreneurs who have been mentoring people who are in different industries, who call me and who I sit with, I tell them, no, there are so many different options. You don't even have to have the product. All you need now is a picture of the product. Yeah? You get orders, you take a down payment, and the down payment is what you use to bring in your goods. So many different ways to do things now. You don't have to do it the hard way like I did. But you just have to be very sure of yourself and be very passionate and give it your all. People talk about plan A and plan B. There are a lot of discussions about it, right? And if having different sources of income, and I'm all for everything that people are talking about. But my way is this way. This is it. This is my tunnel vision, is building Selecfit into a global brand. I can't see anything else. There is no plan B for me. That's it. So it takes everything I have, right? So, you know, my mom would say, Michelle, the bags below your eye, the amount of concealer, because I'm up in the day. And then when Turkey wakes up, when China wakes up, I'm up as well. So I get like 4 or 5 hours sleep at most in pushing to build this thing. And it's not about money. It's about being the first person in my family for generations to own a business. It's being the first person in my family. My children went to college, right? The first person in my family, my daughter wrote CXC at 13 last year, and she's writing exams again in May at age 14. That's what I'm building, so that the next generation would have somewhere to start and not having to start from scratch. That is what my sacrifice is for. That is what I'm doing.
I want to talk a little bit about comparison. When we look at others and we compare ourselves to others, I know you said that you have a tunnel vision with Selecfit. So it's not really just a tunnel vision about the one thing that you're embarking on, but it's also a tunnel vision which prevents you from seeing what's happening over there to distract you. So I want us to talk a little bit about that, but I also wanted to make a point based on what you said previously, that it's really not a one size fits all in terms of how we go about our businesses and building the business. This might work for you and it's not going to work for anybody. Right. I think fundamentally, which you also said, is doing the research.
Correct.
and finding the product
Correct.
as needed.
Yeah.
Because I know that you said you found a specific type of shapewear that wasn't available.
Correct.
And you went for that.
Correct.
So that is so important, right? So I just wanted to kind of reinforce that point that you made, that it's really not a one size fits all. But I feel like once we do the research and we have the belief, because you also talk about that too, you have to believe in what you're doing and believe in what you're embarking on. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the comparison and what that can do to you when you are building your business.
Yeah, so comparison is a great distraction in a sense where you could look at a competitor and you look and you say, oh, these people are doing so much better than me. They are doing this. Let me change my game plan to match theirs. And then maybe I'll do good as them. And then you go to decide, oh, this person is doing this. Oh, let me try this. And, it could be so confusing. But if I go back to, I write a lot. I have a lot of notebooks. I have a box of notebooks, right? You have to have your own game plan. Things don't happen overnight. Things build, right? So your game plan can be December 2026, I'm going to be a millionaire. No, that's not it. If you have 10 customers in January, your goal is 15 customers in February, 20 customers in March. That's it. Your goal has to be different in that you can't look at what everybody else is doing. We all have competitors, but I always say in Trinidad here, there are 12 bars on one street and everybody is open and have a customer. That's how it is. So you have to do what suits you, to build your plan. You must have a strategic plan, a marketing plan, a business plan, do research behind your product and identify the way that you are going to position your product. You're going to market yourself, if it's just the brand by itself, or position yourself with the brand, and stay focused on that and don't look externally, right? So this morning I had a meeting with one of my area managers and I told her, I said, when there is calamity in the world, this is my opportunity to win. That's it. And she looked at me amazed. She's like, what? I said, yes. Once things are falling apart, there is a group of people who is going to push through and come out on top, and Selecfit Shapewear is going to be one of those persons. I told her that this morning in a meeting, and that's it.
The tunnel vision. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right. So we want to talk a little bit about community and mentorship and how important that is, because behind a lot of successful entrepreneurs, and there's a network of people who would have supported them. At least I believe. I realized that you did a lot of the work on your own, Michelle, and that is why I'm posing this question to you as an entrepreneur. How important is community and mentorship to you? I don't know if I should say, well, I guess I should say now, because as you said, when you started out, you really didn't have that. And how important is it?
Community is very important. I mean, for me, as you mentioned, I didn't have it for a long time. I don't even know to say now that I do have it, right? Because I'm very driven, I guess. And I know what I want to do and how I want to get it. And, the persons in my life are for different purposes, different reasons. So my community now is made up of somebody who have a girlfriend who is very successful as well, a female throughout the Caribbean. And I would hang out with her when I don't want to talk about work, when I want to forget, the goal, because, over the years, the persons who knew me tied me back to who I used to be. There were persons who wanted me to, what happened to you? So you can't go online. All of a sudden, you're too good to go and hang out. Let's have a beer. No, I don't drink anymore. I don't do that anymore. So it was very difficult. So I really had to pull away from everybody that I knew, everybody that I grew up with, and I had to start over on my own. But when I look at the community that one of my girlfriends have, which I'm in part of her community, I could see how beneficial it is, because she would call me and she would say, Michelle, I have a meeting coming up. I just want to throw this at you. How does it sound? What can I do differently? And I am able to share with her based on my own experiences to help her. If I had that, I had a me, it would have been so much easier as opposed to so much trial and error. Because I didn't have that, that's why I went into books. I would find females who would have done this, and I would research and study them and take patterns from them, and they became my team. They don't know me, but they became my team.
your virtual mentors and your virtual support system. Of course, I realize that. Listen, if it's not immediately available, it's similar to, when they say build your own table.
Yeah,
build your own thing. Don't let the fact that there are certain resources and support and that's not readily available.
Yeah, you build your own.
Out.
Yeah,
Google is there and now ChatGPT.
And ChatGPT,
right?
Yeah.
So pull on the virtual mentors. Don't let that deter you from reaching your goals and being successful at what you do. There's too much information that is out.
Too much information. There is always a way. I've done so many master classes over the years. So many free courses. Right now, I'm doing a course on e-commerce with Coursera, free course, just for the sake of it. Mm-hmm. Doing logistics, another free course online, just for the sake of it.
Listen, these are tips, these are insights, wisdom that the community needs to hear. Listen, I hope that they're absorbing all of what you're saying and will take it and run with it, because we're living in such a beautiful time and such a dynamic time. Nobody needs to be left behind. Nobody needs to not be a success at what they do. So I hope they're taking heed. And I just want to talk about legacy creation, because you mentioned that you're building something for your daughter. And for many of us women who are entrepreneurs, it's, as you rightly said, it's not just about the financial success, right? And it's also not just about the personal success, but it's also about us building something that will leave an impact when we're no longer above ground. And the question is, as a mother and of course, as an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, how does it feel? I understand that your daughter is very interested in what you're doing. So how does it feel to have your daughter following somewhat in your footsteps, or likely following in your footsteps, and becoming a part of this legacy that you're creating with Selecfit?
It's a feeling that it's the greatest feeling ever. When my daughter says to me, Michelle, did you call Jane, which is one of my Chinese suppliers? When she goes through the staff chat and she sends me a message, you did
she was 14?
She's 14 right now. She's 14 now, but so she surprises me, all the time. She's so involved in everything. She could take my phone and respond to customers online verbatim, just like me. She uses all my words. She knows what to do. She knows all of my suppliers. When they video call from Turkey, she's on the video call. She's sitting there and
she's absorbing everything.
She's absorbing everything. She's going to be dynamic, but she loves music. She sings. She's in guitar lessons. She's doing guitar. I want her to know as well, I'm building this for you, but it doesn't mean that you have to take it on in totality the way that I have, but it still belongs to you. Even if you want to, do something else, it's still yours. But I know she's going to be in the company. I know she's going to run the company.
I'm curious, what are some of the business or leadership conversations that you have with her?
Oh my God. So I tell her, I said, Melanie, I hope you're not fed up. Her name is Melanie. I said, I hope you're not fed up. And she said, Mommy, no, I love to talk to you. I wish you were my age, because you'd have been my best friend at my age. So for International Women's Day, I took her for breakfast. We went to breakfast 7 a.m. Mm-hmm. Just herself and I sat with her and I told her what it means to be a woman, what it means to build, and the choices and decisions that she would have to make that would be different from others. Because for her, as the daughter of, everybody knows her mom owns Selecfit shapewear, so people look at her, so it's different. So there's a lot of sacrifice that she would have to make. But at the end of it, it's worth it, because I tell her, you're going to reach, by God's grace, 20 anyhow. You're going to reach 18 anyhow. But it's the road that you're going to take to get there, which is the decisions that you're going to have to make, right? People have to make their own mistakes, but you would have seen, Mom, you would have done this. So, just kind of tweak it a little bit and watch and see. So it's nice to have her, to have conversations with. When we went to LA for a convention a couple of weeks ago, and I took her with me, and she has on the badge on her neck and she's walking wrong to different, distributors, and she's checking the models, and I look at her, tears in my eyes, looking at my daughter. I said, oh my God, it was worth it. Every time I went to bed hungry, it was worth it. Every time I had to use Evo stick glue and stick my shoes, it was worth it. Over the years, I learned to do my own nails. I learned to weave my own hair because I couldn't afford.
Right.
So it was worth it just to look at my children now. It was worth it to look at my staff. I'm sending one of my staff I'm going to promote to do a course in supervisory management, and having a conversation with her yesterday. And I'm telling her, I said, Naomi, when I look at you, I see potential, but I want you to see potential in yourself.
Right.
I said, what is your goal? I said, come back to me month end, written down with your goal for the next 6 to 12 months, your personal goals. I said, here I am. I said, use me. Say, Miss Baptiste, help me. I said, that's why I'm here. You know, so eyes full up with water. And
I love that you brought that in, because that was going to be somewhat my next question to you. What does legacy mean to you personally?
Yeah. So being able to watch persons who would have worked with me, past staff, you know, I would have sent them to school. I love sending people to school. And for them to call me in different industries to say, Baptiste, this is where I am now. This is what I'm doing. So it's not only just within the company of Selecfit, but it's empowering other women to do more. Is watching people who I knew from 10 years ago now saying, this is what I'm doing now. You know, thank you. You taught me this. So I have a lot of meetings with staff. And a morning I had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and a customer came in, and my staff was there behind the counter with me, and the customer said, Michelle, I know you. I was like, okay, hi, welcome. She said, you were my manager when you were younger. I said, okay. And, you know, but she seemed kind of aggressive. So I just kind of pulled back. I said, okay, I hope I didn't fire this person all these years ago. And I said to her, I said, I hope I was kind to you. She said, I wouldn't say kind, but you were very hard. You were very firm. And because of it, you taught me how to face things.
Wow.
So I want to say thank you. Oh my God. I breathed. So I was like, okay. Because all my employees were there. So, you know, I was kind of, and for me, that's legacy building.
Yes.
You know?
And it's good. It's not about the tangible. It's about the intangible, what we can see, but we can feel it.
Yeah.
You know, I love that. All right. So I want to ask you, what kind of impact do you hope what you're doing right now, how you interact with your employees, how you interact with your customers, and your messaging, what kind of impact you hope that it will have on the women who are listening on this podcast?
So for me, I believe, again, because I'm a big reader, I'm a big Les Brown fan as well, when he says it's possible. So that's kind of something that I hold dear to me. You know, it's possible. Whatever it is, you fall asleep and you dream and you have a desire and you get up. It's possible. I have customers who would have lost their husbands. And they say, Michelle, my hip is gone, my butt is gone, I lost so much of weight. It's possible. I put on a little padded hips on her, and I said, pull up your pants with that. I say, model for me, and they model in the store. And I said, listen, it's possible. Whatever it is, it's possible.
And message of possibility.
It's possible.
Powerful. Yeah. What change do you hope to see in the next generation of women entrepreneurs?
I hope to see more women taking leadership roles, not out of anger or out of pain, but more out of a desire for greatness. A lot of things that businesses that were started has always been out of a situation, and it's not a norm to just get up and say, I'm going to be a businesswoman. You know, it usually stems from a place of brokenness or pain, or, you know, like where mine came from. I know so many stories of so many women who started their journey because of pain. I would love to see, as I would like for my daughter, who haven't experienced any pain, who just got up and decided, I'm going to be a $1 million woman. You know, I'm going to build a $1 billion business just because. So I'm looking that the cycle of the pain doesn't continue, that it ends. And we just build because we can. That's what I would love to see.
I I love it. I love it. That's a big ask, a big hope, though, in terms of not this perpetuating the cycle. But I nonetheless, we can, right?
We can.
And that conversation of possibility should be at the fore always. So it supersedes everything else that comes with it. So
Correct.
Yeah. And I think we're almost at the end, and this is the part where I believe a lot of our listeners love. They look forward to the practical angle that we will take, the chance that you get to speak to them directly then. And so I'd love you to share a message that you would want to leave with the women who are thinking about taking the leap into entrepreneurship. Anything that, might be on your heart that you want to say to them.
I would say to them to deal with your mental health primarily. I would say to look at your circle, the people that you keep confiding in, people who cannot help you grow, people who tie you to your past. I would say isolate a little bit, pull away a little bit from everyone to make sure that your dream is your dream and your vision is your dream and it's not tied to anybody else. It's not tied to any pain. It's not tied to anything but you. Our mental health and our mental capacity and our ability to do things as women. It's so important to be in the right mind and to have the right mindset. It's so important to feel pain, know and identify that you're feeling pain, and get up in the midst of it and make a conscious decision, not out of revenge, not out of any form of malice, but because you want to do something for you to make your life better for yourself and for your family. So again, you find someone online or physical who has done what you want to do, and you follow the footprints of that person until you could create your own footprints. That's it.
Hopeful way to end. And I love when you mentioned the fact that we need to take care of the mental health aspect, because I feel like a lot of us are being held back by that very thing. We look at people on the road and we think that they're mental, while we ourselves are mental also. We think that it has to show up a certain way, but there are a lot of little nuances about us that says I'm having an issue. And so I'm very happy that you have stressed that, taking care of our mental health and our mental well-being. And such a powerful way to end. The right mindset, the right frame of mind, get up and keep going. We all experience pain, but we have a goal in mind. And in order to get to that goal, we have to push past the pain and the fear and the rejection and all of those things. And as you said, the tunnel vision is very important. So I really, really love our conversation, Michelle. A lot of takeaways, a lot of insights that I know that our listeners are going to benefit from. Like I said, it's like a mini masterclass.
I hope so.
It's like a mini masterclass, of course. And I really appreciate you taking time out to come onto our platform and share your expertise, your knowledge, your insight about entrepreneurship and building businesses. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of the Beyond Woman podcast. I hope you're leaving feeling inspired and ready to take action. Remember, you are capable of so much more than you think. Keep pushing those boundaries, keep learning, and keep believing in your limitless potential. We want to stay connected with you, so be sure to follow us on social media at The Beyond Woman Magazine for daily inspiration and behind-the-scenes content, and to join our growing community of empowered women. Visit us at www.thebeyondwomanmag.com and www.thebeyondwoman.com, where you will find more resources and articles to support you in your journey. Sign up for our newsletters and be the first to know about our exclusive events and for more opportunities to connect. To all my Caribbean sisters, let's lift each other up. Share this episode with the women in your life who need to hear this message, and let's continue to build this powerful network together. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a review on this app. Your support helps us to reach more women. Thank you for being part of the Beyond Woman movement. Keep shining, keep growing, and keep living your extraordinary life.